So today, we are announcing the Google Assistant.
One of the strategic tenets of WW is to meet our members where they are. Voice is no longer a nascent technology, it is already ubiquitous. For us to meet our members' needs, it's imperative that we embrace voice, Google Assistant, and app actions as early as possible.
We're prioritizing working with Google because Google has a background of enabling large ecosystems that deliver amazing value for customers and the business.
With ABC Mouse, our mission has always been to build a strong foundation for academic success and grow a natural curiosity for learning. What better way to expand that than with voice?
Google's Voice reaches far beyond smart speakers to include millions of mobile devices. Jeopardy! And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire are available on the Google Assistant, and we look forward to adding more interactive games in the near future.
Conversation-based interaction allows us to be with our customers in the moment that they need us. So imagine you used the last of the peanut butter and you had to really dig for it, so you've got it all over your hands. Now adding peanut butter to your Kroger order is only a sentence away, and that's really powerful.
Google Assistant can solve a lot of different customer problems, but primarily the focus we have is speed and efficiency and removing the hassle for customers to do the thing that they're trying to do in their financial lives day in and day out.
As voice-activated devices become more accessible and popular among our consumers, it's exciting to have yet another way to engage with customers, ensuring that they have a best-in-class experience for their home from beginning to end.
Smart displays are really interesting to us at Viacom CBS. As a media company, we have so much content that was created as video first, and we're excited to give that content a new life as voice first content for voice assistants.
Now more than ever, we need to support parents in their homes with innovative learning tools.
So innovation in this area provides Redbox with a new opportunity to expand our footprint. It's not enough to support Android and Android TV. We have to support Google Assistant integration across the Android ecosystem. Customers crave a seamless experience. This is an opportunity to address that.
Imagine being able to find all things home all in one place just with your voice. Delighting customers with experiences like this is why Wayfair is excited to continue exploring what's possible with Google Assistant.
We are prioritizing working with Google because WW, formerly Weight Watchers, is a 57-year-old wellness company, but it's transformed into this modern technology organization. Mobile, Android platform, and voice are key strategic underpinnings of that transformation.
The Google Assistant contributes to our digital strategy by taking the cognitive load and effort off of the customer and really enabling them to solve the problems that they're trying to solve in the moment in a much more fast and efficient manner.
We're starting to integrate more with Google Assistant because it's clearly a real force in a growing market.
We want to be where our customers are and not only be useful, but also proactive.
It's a great platform for users and developers that we're proud to be on.
Voice allows us to innovate and think in new ways. We can reach more people and help them access, interact, and engage with our content using voice in a far more authentic and natural way.
My wife and I have made a daily ritual of playing the Jeopardy! Game on the Google Assistant while we do the dishes, and we found it makes a mundane task a lot more fun.
Hey Google, play Jeopardy!
This phrase is needed along with Play Jeopardy! To launch the quiz show with the Google Assistant.
What is Hey Google?
Hey Google.
Hey Google.
Hey Google. We are excited to join the Assistant ecosystem.
Hi everyone, I'm Danny Bernstein from the Global Partnerships team focused on Google Assistant. Welcome from around the globe to our first Google Assistant Developer Day. And for those of you who have joined us for other virtual events like Voice Talks, it's great to see you again. And thank you for continuing to go on this journey with us and for giving us great feedback on how we can be a better partner. We introduced Google Assistant back in 2016 with the mission of helping people get things done more easily by enabling them to simply ask naturally for what they want. Today, every month, over 500 million people turn to Google Assistant to get things done at home and on the go, such as helping families get going in the morning, setting up reminders to stay on top of your to-do list. Along our journey, we've heard from users that they want more than a voice-only digital assistant, and hence, we've expanded on this idea to envision an ambient digital assistant that moves with you throughout the day, across devices, understanding context and intent, ready to help wherever you are, whenever you need it. Whether assistant users are looking for recipe recommendations, help keeping the family on track, finding entertainment to unwind, or helping them to be more productive, developers play an essential role in enabling users to effortlessly get what they're looking for. We're evolving Google Assistant every day to bring it closer to an ambient computing vision and to provide users with a better product and a more robust platform for developers. We're both proud and inspired that so many global brands, such as Walmart, Sony, Snap, and eBay, and many others, have joined us in the mission to help people get things done more easily. Ambient computing is a very long game, and we greatly appreciate the collaboration and, more importantly, feedback in these early stages. Today, we're going to share some new developer features that we really hope you're going to like. We'll also take a look at some of the inspiring integrations from a number of our developer partners throughout the event. And Googlers will be engaging with you in online Q&A. Here's a summary of what's in store. First up, Barish will give the keynote, where you'll hear about new features and integrations that we're super excited about. Next, we'll go deep on some of the highlight announcements in our technical sessions. And you're going to hear from established companies and independent developers, including Postmates, Discord, MyFitnessPal, Cool Games, and Age of Learning, about their development approach, as well as best practices from building ambient experiences for the Google Assistant. Finally, join us for our virtual Fireside chat, where our developer relations team will answer some of the most frequently asked questions from our developer community that we've sourced through social channels and forums. Throughout the event, our team will be replying to your live questions via chat, so we invite you to lean in and engage with us this way. With that, let's get started. Take it away, Barish.
Thanks, Danny. I am Barish Gültekin, and I lead the mobile product team for Google Assistant. I'm honored to be here on behalf of our entire team to speak with all of you. Digital assistants were born out of the notion that voice computing unlocks a new way to interact with technology. For the first time in history, technology is conforming to natural human behavior instead of the other way around. And we envision an assistant that understands you in any context, on any device, and is able to gracefully orchestrate complex tasks on your behalf to make life easier and more enjoyable. We even see a lot of cases where Assistant can proactively spot opportunities to help even before you ask, like prompting you to pay your bill on time or reminding you of your anniversary with great gift ideas. There's a critical role for each of you to play in this vision. As more users turn to the Assistant to get things done, they're often looking for the kinds of things that developers just like you provide. In fact, over the last year, the number of Assistant queries that have been fulfilled by third parties has more than doubled. We're confident that this trend towards third-party fulfillment will continue to rise as the platform and the ecosystem grow. So today, I'm excited to share how we're doubling down on this vision to make it easier for each of you to play an important role in this era of ambient computing. We have lots of updates for both Android and native Assistant developers today, as well as much anticipated discovery and monetization announcements. So let's get to it. Let's start with App Actions, our solution for Android developers to easily enable their apps to fulfill queries from Assistant users. With over 2.5 billion Android devices all over the world, the phone is the center of our lives. It's the foundation of a user's ecosystem of personal devices, apps, and services. As we think about the role of phones in our ambient computing vision, we started by voice-enabling the core functionality of our phones, such as calling, messaging, and device controls. Now, we also want to make the actual experience of using our phones transformationally better. Through intent understanding and the ability to orchestrate across apps and services, Google Assistant can make everyday tasks much faster and easier. From simple things like opening and searching within apps to more complex tasks like placing a grocery order based on your shopping list. Instead of navigating through each app to get things done, a user might simply ask the Assistant for something like, "Order my groceries," using just their voice. App Actions allows you to integrate your Android app with Google Assistant to make your app eligible to fulfill Assistant queries allowing your users to bypass all the intermediate steps and get them right to the point in your app where engagement matters. As developers, you can enable this experience for your users by adding assistant queries that link to specific functionality in your apps. We started piloting app actions with a small set of verticals, working with partners like Nike Run Club, PayPal, and others. And we heard a lot of interest from our developer community for more app verticals and intents to be supported. So today, I'm excited to announce that App Actions is now available for all Android apps to integrate. Millions of times each day, users ask Google Assistant to open their favorite apps. But we've seen that many of them are actually trying to search within apps. So in addition to supporting an open intent for all Android developers, we're adding support for searching in apps and opening specific pages in apps, offering all of you more ways to easily connect your users to your app through Google Assistant. Now let's do a demo to show how this works. Hey Google, open Twitter. Show Taylor Swift. How about John Legend? Search for accent chairs on Wayfair. Blue ones. Show my accounts on Mint. Find light blue basketball shoes on eBay. Find emails about app actions on Yahoo Mail. It's easy to implement all these common intents to your Android apps. You can simply declare support for these capabilities in your actions.xml file to get started. For searching, you can provide a deep link that will allow the assistant to pass a search term into your app. And for opening pages, you can provide a deep link with the corresponding name for Assistant to match your user's requests. It's that simple. Now, in addition to searching and opening pages, we want to enable users to take app-specific actions. We first piloted app actions in select verticals such as finance, ride-sharing, food ordering, and fitness. And for category-specific app functionality, this adds built-in intents on top of the common intents for unique cases in these verticals such as send money or start an exercise. And we've now grown our catalog from around 20 intents to more than 60 intents, and from 4 verticals to cover more than 10 verticals. And I'm happy to share that we now work with many of the top brands in each of these verticals. These built-in intents are designed to help you leverage your known developer tools, such as Android Studio, to provide fast and easy development paths. And we're already hearing great feedback from our partners, and many of them are able to stand these up in less than a day. We're very excited about these new features, and I hope that you are too. We'll continue to expand on these category-specific built-in intents, but we've also heard that many of you want support for more custom intents based on your particular app's purpose. So I'm excited to announce that starting from today, you can build custom intents and map them to your app's actions. Here's an example of a custom intent from Discord. Hey Google, join server Latin on Discord. This query enabled Discord to use a custom intent to enable users to join a public server called Latin. Here's another one from Snapchat. Hey Google, send a snap using the cartoon face lens. They use a custom intent to enable users to bypass all the intermediate steps and send a snap using the lens that they choose. Looks pretty cool, right? With more common, built-in, and custom intents available, every Android developer can now enable fulfillment paths for assistant user queries that tailor to exactly what your app offers. We are excited about how little effort it takes to do these integrations. We also wanted to make it equally easy to enable your users to discover your actions. We're designing new touchpoints in natural Google Assistant flows to help users easily learn about apps that support app actions. Let's take a look at some examples. Hey Google, show Taylor Swift. As you can see, the assistant will be recommending relevant app actions even when the user doesn't mention the app name explicitly. Google Assistant will also be suggesting apps proactively, even before a user has said the query, depending on the app usage patterns. Let's see an example from Walmart, where the user will be able to book a time with Walmart to pick up their order. Book a time with Walmart. We are invested in this app ecosystem for the long term, and we want to continue driving more value for users and developers through discovery efforts like this. We also want to give our users a way to map their own custom queries to their most common tasks. That's why we're excited to introduce app shortcuts, allowing users to customize a query and define what it will do with their favorite app. Starting today, users can set up and explore suggested shortcuts by simply saying, "Hey Google, shortcuts." We'll also make proactive suggestions for shortcuts throughout the assistant. By adding new shortcuts to the assistant, users can make their frequent tasks much easier with a personalized command. Let's take a look. As you can see, once the user creates a shortcut, they can customize the query to say what they want. Once your app action is live, your users will be able to create shortcuts to access the specific functionality within your app even more quickly and easily. This is currently available for many apps, with many more to come soon. We have a large catalog of shortcuts, and we're excited that your users can now just say a short phrase to accomplish frequent tasks with your favorite apps. With all these announcements, such as searching in apps, opening specific pages in apps, a wide catalog of built-in intents, custom intents, suggestions, and shortcuts, any Android developer can enable their users to get things done more easily with Assistant. And with just a days of work, enabling deep links and adding a simple XML file, developers can take advantage of everything that the App Actions has to offer. And with discoverability baked into the product, we're excited to see developers deriving real value from these integrations. Thanks to some of our early developer partners, we're together able to provide seamless mobile journeys for all of our users. And we look forward to more of you joining us in this journey to help make the Assistant even more helpful for your users in the days to come. Now, let's talk about how we're improving the native development platform for Google Assistant. Back in June, we launched new developer tools, such as Actions Builder and Actions SDK, which made it easier to design and build conversational actions on the Assistant. We're excited about many partners that have already been building with these, such as Cool Games and Sony. We also announced a new conversational model that greatly improved the quality of the actions, making Google Assistant's responses faster and more accurate. I'm happy to share that we've reached another milestone for the Assistant developer platform, and we're announcing a bundle of exciting features that both continue to improve the quality of the tools we offer and the experiences that you can build. Let's start with a foundational change. If we were having this announcement in person, I'd ask for a show of hands. How many of you find the text-to-speech voices relaxing? I can't see you, but I can tell it's nobody. We've heard your feedback, that you need better voices to match the quality of the experiences that you're delivering on the Assistant. So we've released 2 new English voices to our developer community. These take advantage of an improved prosody model and will sound a lot more natural. Let's listen.
This is the old voice. This is the new voice.
These voices are now available, and you can leverage them in your existing actions by simply making the change in the Actions console. But what can you build with these better voices? We know many of you are excited to build for the smart displays and have been wanting to access the interactive canvas, an API that's restricted to games. Until now. I'm pleased to share the expansion of the interactive canvas to actions in the education and storytelling verticals. Whether you're building an action that teaches someone to cook, explains the phases of the moon, helps a family member with grammar, or takes you through interactive adventure, you'll have access to the full visual power of Canvas. Another feature we're all excited about is continuous match mode. This allows Google Assistant to keep the microphone open and respond instantaneously to specific words without having to invoke the Assistant every time while playing a game. Let's take a look at how one of our partners, Cool Games, has leveraged both the Canvas and continuous match mode to build an engaging and interactive game on the smart display.
Which difficulty do you want to play?
Normal.
I like normal too. All right, let's see the drawings.
Fossil. Vegetables. Marathon.
Great job. That's impressive.
If you're interested in building a game, story, or educational experience, you can apply for access to continuous match mode today on our website. Specifically for game developers, we built a new site just for you. This resource hub is filled with a gaming playbook, code samples, tools access, and everything you need to create an awesome game for smart displays. And we want to build on the momentum of our new platform and make tooling even better. First, to make building assistant experiences more enjoyable, we've sped up Actions Builder. Now, even the most sophisticated projects should load up quickly, allowing you to build more and more compelling experiences while enjoying a responsive IDE. You've heard me talk extensively about quality, and we want to help you deliver delightful experiences for your users. That means ensuring everything in your action works properly. And you're probably accustomed to testing your action manually in the simulator or invoking it on a home device next to your workstation. Today, we're announcing the Actions Testing API, a programmatic way to test your critical user journeys and ensure there aren't any broken conversation paths. Using this framework allows you to run end-to-end tests in an isolated preview environment, run regression tests, and add continuous testing to your arsenal. This API is being released to general availability soon. Next, we know many of you supported the Assistant Developer Platform in the first phase of growth and have invested in dialog flow-based actions. We want you to enjoy the benefits of the new platform without having to build from scratch. That's why we're offering a migration tool inside the Actions console that automates much of the work to move projects to the improved platform. As developers, you're already used to many existing tools and development environments. At Google, we want to enable you to use your favorite tools, so we've been working with partners to support a robust ecosystem of third-party tools. That's why we're excited to share that VoiceFlow and Jovo, two market leaders in voice application development, have updated their integrations to take advantage of the latest APIs. Whether you choose to build with our tools or take advantage of the robust capabilities of our partners, you'll still be able to enjoy the full capabilities of Assistant Development Platform. Now that you've built something incredible, you're ready for your users. And this brings us to discovery. We know it's been challenging to drive engagement with your experiences. It's been a consistent point of feedback that we should improve discovery for your actions. With that goal in mind, we'll soon be opening 2 new built-in intents for public registration. These built-in intents discover a range of intents in the education and storytelling domains, and join games as principal areas of investment for our developer ecosystem. First, let's look at the educational built-in intent. When a user invokes the intent, they'll be presented with a browsable selection of actions across a variety of topics. When you register your action to the education built-in intent, you'll select the most relevant topics and participate in the query stream. Inside the console, you'll also be able to suggest new topics, so we can update this experience based on your feedback. Turning our attention to storytelling, we see that users love consuming stories on Google Assistant. Whether listening passively to their favorites or interacting with a visual experience, we see great engagement. That's why we're opening these queries to our developer ecosystem and introducing new categories so users have much more control and can find the story they love. In addition to launching new channels of discovery for developer actions, we also want to provide more control over how you and your users reach your actions. You may be familiar with action links as a way to deep link to your conversational action. They have been used with great success by partners like Sushiro, Caixa, and Galeano Zafferano. We're excited to announce that we're relaunching this feature as Assistant Links, which enables partners to deliver rich Google Assistant experiences in their websites, as well as deep link to their Google Assistant integrations from anywhere on the web. As an example, TD Ameritrade has used rich Assistant links and assist.js to streamline the account linking flow and guide the user to their integration. This is one example of how we're making account linking better, and we realize that it supports one of the most important goals for Google Assistant. help your business succeed. Now, let's talk about some of our other improvements for account linking as well. We know you build personalized and premium experiences for your users. And in order to make money, you need it to be easier for your users to connect their accounts. To help streamline this process, we're opening 2 betas for improved account linking flows that will allow simple, streamlined authentication via apps. The first is Link with Google. Users start with an Android or iOS app where they're already logged in and complete the linking flow with just a few clicks without the need to re-enter their credentials. Next, let's talk about AppFlip. You've probably heard about this before. It's Google's best practice solution for linking with frequently installed apps. AppFlip allows users to securely and simply link their Google account to your authentication systems without having to remember their credentials. It also drastically reduces the number of steps it takes to link your services to your users' accounts. This works best in combination with streamlined account linking, leveraging Google's sign-in and OAuth. We hope you leverage these cool new account linking features as you build your assistant experiences. One of the exciting things about smart displays is that it's an inherently communal device. So if you're offering an experience that is meant to be enjoyed collaboratively, you need a way to share state between users and multiple devices. Let's say you're working on a puzzle, and your roommate wants to help with a few pieces on the smart display. We are introducing household authentication tokens, so all users in a home can now share these types of experiences. In order to access this feature, simply select Household Account Linking in the console, and users will be asked if they'd like to share the link with their household as part of the flow. Now, let's talk about the improvements we're making to the transaction flow on smart displays. We want to make it easier for you to add seamless voice and display-based monetization capabilities to your experience. Smart displays have fundamentally different transaction processing user expectations than phones. So we're making significant investments here to make sure we get this right. We've started supporting voice match as an option for payment authorization. And early next year, we'll also launch on-display CVC entry. Expect more on this front in the next few quarters. We've come to the end of our keynote. We've talked about some of the fundamental improvements we've made to the developer platform, such as better testing capabilities, improved tools, greater access to capabilities like more natural voices, interactive canvas, and continuous match. We're also excited to bring new channels of discovery and promotions to the developer ecosystem, and the smoother account linking and transaction flows. Whether you adopt app actions and connect your Android application to Google Assistant, or build something natively for smart displays, we're very excited about how these improvements unlock meaningful opportunities and real business value on your platform. We have lots more ahead and encourage you to think about your next projects and continue to share your feedback with us. That's all for me. Back to you, Danny.
Thanks, Barish. We hope you are as excited as we are about these new developer features. We believe these new tools, such as app actions, app shortcuts, native assistant development tools, improvements to discovery and monetization features, will enable you to build rich experiences that ultimately enable users to get things done more easily and in a more natural way using the Google Assistant. In our next segment, we will hear from our speakers about all these announcements in greater technical depth and get to see how Google Assistant works behind the scenes to get your users the help they need throughout their day, whether it's on the go, using their mobile phones, or at home on their smart displays. You will also hear directly from partners about their experience building for the Google Assistant. After that, we also have a fireside chat coming up after the sessions where you can ask live chat questions to our Assistant Developer Relations team. You can also engage with our teams throughout the event on the Livestream platform or on our social channels using the hashtag Google Assistant Dev Day. Now, let's go to Shika and Adam to go deeper on app actions.
Hi, I'm Shika Sagar. I lead Partner Technology Management for Assistant on mobile and web. My team directly works with hundreds of partners across the globe to help them build high-quality assistant experiences. We have closely worked with these partners, have learned their use cases, understood developer pain points, what works for their users and what doesn't. we have incorporated all these learnings into the App Actions product that I am very excited to share with you today. I have with me my product manager, Adam.
Yes, thank you, Shika. I'm Adam Coimbra. I'm a PM working on integrating Android apps with the Google Assistant. I've worked with Shika for a long time, bringing partners into the Assistant. And like her, I'm very excited about the opportunity that App Actions brings to create compelling user experiences and deliver value to developers with a low-lift integration.
We are thrilled about the potential innovation we can do together with you in this space. I hope you enjoyed the keynote and learned about our vision for Google Assistant on mobile. We want to make the journeys users already do on their phones faster and easier. Our goal is for users to express their intent naturally and for us to fulfill the outcome seamlessly. Developers and partners like you play a crucial role in this vision. To help you bring your existing Android apps to Google Assistant, we created App Actions. It's a tool that allows users to fast forward into your app's key functionality with voice. Let me share some key use cases. First, and the most common one, is open your app or open parts of your app and even search within your app. A lot of users use this. For example, like me, if you love to look at your photos, you can simply say open photos. This comes in especially handy if you are on the go. Next, your users can access core app journeys with no taps or typing, thus reducing friction. So if you want to order food, you can simply say, "Hey Google, order Italian food on Postmates." It will remember the query you asked, in this case, Italian food, so you won't have to type it again. Finally, you can also add differentiated journeys which are unique to your app. For example, a lot of us are hiking these days. Instead of going to your phone, searching to find the app amongst the several apps that you have, you can simply say, "Hey Google, start my hike with all trails," and you go right in. Isn't it cool to be able to do all this through voice? If you have tried to build for voice or for a conversation platform before, you may have seen how time-consuming and challenging it can be. With App Actions, we strive to make the developer experience easy for you. It is a simple integration and it is available for all Android apps today. Now, why simple? There are multiple reasons. First, you can leverage the investment and the time you have already put in your Android app, its functionality, and extend it to Google Assistant. It will allow your users to start a conversation with your app in a natural and seamless way. We take care of all the heavy lifting and natural language understanding. You do not need to build anything new. Second, you can use the developer tools that you are already familiar with, such as Android Studio. So not much additional ramp-up time needed. Finally, it takes on an average of few days of development time from start to launch. You heard me right. Not weeks, not months, just a few days. We have put in a lot of effort in the last year towards ensuring that this developer experience is faster and simpler for you. You can build and even test right in your Android app. We have integrated our App Actions test tool within Android Studio. And finally, you can just add it to your next app release. So fast time to market. Once you integrate, Google Assistant can proactively suggest your app to your users for re-engagement across Google Assistant. Now let's jump right into how you can integrate with App Actions.
Great. Let's start with a set of experiences that really apply across all Android apps. The simplest way to use Assistant with an app is to ask Assistant to open that app. For example, you might say, open YouTube, and be taken to the YouTube app. This is something that's available for all Android apps and without any additional effort from app developers. Today, millions of users already open apps with Assistant. We're excited to take this a step further and help users speed up more tasks that they do every day across their apps. So we're introducing 2 new common user journeys for app actions: opening pages in apps and searching inside apps. These are 2 common tasks that people do on their mobile phones all the time. Searching in apps is something we're all very familiar with. Looking up videos in YouTube, finding my personal photos in Google Photos, and many more examples. For example, Etsy enabled searching inside apps so that you can say, find hanging planters on Etsy, and immediately be taken into the app to see the search results. Just like Shika described, adding any app action is very simple. You simply add an actions.xml file into your app and share a deep link with the assistant in a way that it can semantically understand. Here you see an example for searching an app where the actions.xml file registers for the get thing built-in intent and maps it to a search deep link. Another very common task is opening a specific page in an app. With this feature, common places in apps like menus, settings, history, and notifications can all be easily made available through voice. For example, you can say, show my watch history on YouTube to be taken to the appropriate section in the app. Once again, this integration is as simple as providing the correct set of deep links in your actions.xml file. We're very excited about all 3 of these experiences and hope that you will implement searching and opening pages in apps today. Now, in order to make your app truly accessible via voice, we need to go deeper than these common journeys. We believe that users should be able to use Assistant to access the core functionality inside of your app. Now, each app has very different core functionality, and Assistant needs to understand this wide range of use cases in order to connect users' requests to the correct place in your app. That's why we created a catalog of built-in intents for core app journeys. We started with just 4 categories, but today we're excited to announce the catalog expanding to 60+ built-in intents, covering more than 10 app categories. For example, Wish made it easier for their users to quickly start purchases using our shopping built-in intents. You can see the user saying, hey Google, buy flower pots on Wish. As you can see, this follows the same easy implementation path in actions.xml. All you need to do is connect the appropriate app deep link to the appropriate built-in intent. Now, let's hear about Postmates and their experience leveraging the food ordering built-in intents.
Thanks so much, Adam and Shika. Hi, everyone. I'm Michael, and I work on App Actions as part of the Google Assistant Partnerships team. And I'm really excited today to be joined by Garrett Gaudini, product lead focused on consumer at Postmates. Hi, Garrett, and welcome, first of all, to this virtual event. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you guys do at Postmates?
Thank you, Michael. I've been lucky where I've had a chance to work on some really cool products throughout my career. And I get passionate about solving hard and valuable problems. And that's what brought me to Postmates. When you think of everything that needs to happen, after you place that order, getting it all the way through to your door and having everything be perfect, even the temperature, there's a lot of problems to solve, and it's very complex.
Yeah, definitely can imagine that. Speaking of conversation today is going to be Postmates experience integrating their app into the Google Assistant using App Actions. So to get started, we would love to know how Postmates began to prioritize voice and why you chose to build on the Google Assistant, and what specific problems were you trying to solve here?
First of all, we were excited to work with Google again. We did the integration for Google food ordering and wanted to build on that phenomenal success and wanted to get Postmates and Google into a new surface area. And Google Assistant made a lot of sense. Innovation is really part of Postmates DNA. And so, the chance to build in this new emerging space, there was just a lot of excitement around that. Mm-hmm. And then when you think of Google Assistant, and it's really a new way for users to get into the Android app. And when we think of that top of funnel, that was a lot of the problems we were trying to solve, was how to get more people into the top of our funnel and then once they get in there, how to get them further through, and in some cases even remove the taps, because when you think of creating an order, there's a lot of taps to get all the way through those actions, and so if we could reduce those taps, that was that would be a win. And finally, at Postmates, it's really important when you think of the developers' excitement about a project. I brought this up with our team. They all just their eyes lit up, and they were super jazzed to dig in on this one. That it got the green light really fast.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's always great to hear when the developers are really excited about such a project. That makes us feel really proud as well. Can you tell me a little bit more about the development process itself? How was that for you guys?
It was really straightforward. I could tell that you have a mature platform and process, and so we had a clear understanding of the problems that we were trying to solve, and how to translate those into the intents that we wanted to build. For us, it was around leaning in on things that are already happening in our app, like reordering. We know that's a really easy flow. It's also a high percentage of our orders are reorders, so we wanted to include that in our work. And then when you think of the delivery and where along the flow you could have some problems, it's around tracking, and so. When you think of, when that order is out for delivery and you're expecting it in just a few minutes or so, how do we make sure that, you could jump into that tracking flow easily and reduce the taps to get there?
Right.
Also the team. So I really want to mention the team that we worked with and their response time. So whenever our developers had any questions, emails are responded to within minutes. Not something I expect, but that's sort of what happened. And whenever we found some bugs along the way, they were fixed immediately in developer time. It was really just a few days before we were able to do a demo in front of a larger team at Postmates. And I have to say, once we did that, then the excitement for the project kind of reached even a new level.
Yeah, nice. Sounds great. And then now maybe to switch gears a little bit and look at the vertical from a higher level. How do you think does voice relate to the food ordering industry in particular? What kind of food ordering specific features would you like to see in the future maybe?
Sure. When you think of the food ordering space, it's really a natural fit for voice. So you already have this rich set of content that's well-structured data. We have hundreds of thousands of menus. We have millions of items. So it's now just a question of how do we get that that content ready for a conversation between the user and the device. How do we go from a one-directional command to Google Assistant and getting that more towards a conversation where Google Assistant is, picking up on those commands and confirming and even asking more questions. Things like, would you like avocado? What type of beans do you want on that burrito? And that will get us deeper into that funnel along that path of really, starting and completing the order without ever touching a device.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, thanks for sharing your vision. I think that's quite interesting for the industry as a whole as well. And maybe the last question then, now that you have launched this feature, how will you, first of all, raise awareness for it among your user base? And then second of all, how will you measure success of this initiative?
We measure everything. And so, for us, we even before we start projects, we have all the metrics, of course, that we're our success metrics that we're looking to move. And so for us, it's really about engagement. As I mentioned, how are users engaging with the voice intents? Which ones are they engaging with most often? And measuring that activity. And then what's happening after they land into the app. If they ask to order a burrito, did they actually order that burrito, for example? And then finally, how successful was it when you think of when you look at incidents and customer contacts? Did these orders have issues? And really digging into making sure they were a success.
Well, Garrett, thanks so much for taking the time today. It's been really impressive to see you guys on this journey, and it's honestly, for us as Google, pretty cool to be on this journey with you. So thanks again for your time. Thanks again for working with us on this, and yeah, all the best for the future.
What you saw from Postmates was pretty cool, right? Now we have identified top use cases in 10 key verticals, and you can easily access them through 60 built-in intents. We have modeled them for you to capture the most common user phrases. And we continue to add to these and improve the experiences as we get more feedback from you and observe our users' behavior. We announced finance, ride-sharing, food ordering, and fitness verticals last year. And based on your feedback, we have now extended these to social, communications, shopping, productivity, travel, and games. So as we worked with developers, it was really fun to figure out their right use cases and seeing them come to life. We want to reenact that experience for you now. Let's see how easy it is for a product manager and an engineer to implement app actions.
Right. So as I mentioned, I'm a PM, but actually I've always wanted to be an engineer. So Shika, would you mind wearing the PM hat for today?
Sure. Let's say I am a product manager at Fit Actions. It is a fitness app which helps users to work out on the go, track their workouts, and display stats. They can even set challenges. It's key for my product to let users track their fitness activity, so important for us as we are currently working from home. Now, this is an already available functionality on my Android app. Let's see how we can extend it to Assistant using app actions.
Sounds good. So it sounds like we need to enable a fitness tracking use case with app actions. Well, we have the built-in intent catalog for app actions, and we can take a look through that and see if the fitness use case is supported. If we can find it, then we'll be able to set up a built-in intent that will allow Assistant to automatically map many different types of user requests to our app. And it looks like there is a start exercise built-in intent that fits our use case perfectly.
Awesome, Adam. It says the query examples are start my run, track my hike, which sounds perfect for our users. So,
way ahead of you, all we have to do is go into Android Studio, add the actions.xml file, and create an action implementing the start exercise built-in intent. Then we can use the app actions test tool, which is built into Android Studio, to preview the experience and see how it works on a real phone.
this looks perfect, and our users will be delighted to use this on their go when they are ready to run or hike. What about setting our workout challenges? Our users love this functionality and will be excited to use it through voice. What we can do in this case is to use custom intent. So we can create our own intent and provide examples of query patterns that users may say. We can map this functionality into our app's deep link, exactly similar to how we did for built-in intents before. So custom intents will allow us to extend this differentiated functionality, very unique to our app, and extend it to Assistant.
Awesome. And when we visit the custom intent developer documentation, it confirms that they'll be perfect for this use case. And the syntax, as you said, is very similar to the built-in intents that we declared before. Taking a look, we can see that in Android Studio, we add another action in actions.xml, this time defining a custom intent name instead of a built-in intent. The main difference is that we map the intent to a set of example query patterns that we've written, which is where we define the ways that users might trigger this intent. For example, we've added check challenges and check challenges of a particular type.
Awesome. So let's see how it all comes together. I can now set a workout challenge, which takes me directly into the exact content on my fitness app. And this was so simple that even my product manager could build it. Now let's hear directly from one of our partners, Discord, about how they utilize this custom intents functionality. We have Megan from our partnerships team and Prachi Gupta, the head of engineering from Discord. On to you, Megan.
Thanks, Adam and Shika, for kicking us off with that overview of custom intents. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Cummins-Grace, and I work on product partnerships at Google Assistant. I'm really excited to be joined today by Prachi Gupta, who heads up engineering at Discord, one of the leading apps for talking with your communities and friends. Prachi, why don't you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your journey to Discord?
Hi, everybody. I'm Prachi Gupta, and it's great to be with all of you today. For over a decade, I've been building products that fulfill my personal passion of creating communities through conversation. And earlier this summer, I was thrilled to join Discord to lead engineering. I was really drawn to the team's dedication to bringing millions of people around the world together to talk, and I'm excited to be able to continue that mission.
And that focus on building community and fostering communication feels more meaningful now than ever before. Discord has been a lifesaver for keeping in touch with certain friend groups, especially given we haven't been able to get together in person lately. And now, thanks to Discord's App Actions implementation, I can jump right into my favorite channel or send a message on the app using the Google Assistant.
That's right.
So, Prachi, let's dig in a little bit to your team's experience integrating App Actions. To start, can you tell us a bit about why Discord chose to build for Google Assistant?
Sure. So from the very beginning, voice has been core to what makes Discord different. Discord was initially developed to make it easier to talk to friends before, during, and after playing online games. And this wasn't just by texting, it was by using voice channels to talk to friends in real time. And flash forward to today, millions of people use Discord to talk to their friends about a lot more than just playing games, and voice remains a big focus for us. Integrating Google Assistant gives us a great new way for users to engage with our service while being completely natural to how they already use Discord. Honestly, it was a no-brainer for us.
That's awesome. And it really does feel like a natural extension of your app, which is one of the many reasons we were so excited to join forces on this. So what exactly did your team build here?
Well, we focus on a few basics, like sending a message, as well as some custom actions that we think will be useful for our Discord mobile users, like creating or joining a select server or channel, as you can see in the demo.
Cool, and you mentioned custom actions just now. After launching App Actions at last year's Google I/O, we heard from developers who wanted to support unique use cases that we didn't yet offer built-in intents for. So we developed tools to allow partners to create custom intents so that they can support the use cases that matter the most to them. How did your team use custom intents here?
Absolutely. So there are built-in intents for a lot of our users' common in-app journeys, but we were able to leverage custom intents for a few special use cases that we knew our users would really want. As you know, one of the most powerful things about Discord is its organized communication. Someone typically has a server with multiple channels in it, and probably even is part of multiple servers. So we used custom intents to make sure users can drop straight into these areas of our app with voice, which we think will be incredibly useful for our mobile users in particular.
Totally. It'll be so nice to jump right to a specific channel. And of course, we love hearing that Discord was able to take advantage of some of these newer tools and found them helpful. How was the rest of the development experience? Start to finish, did this require a lot of investment from your team, or was it pretty straightforward?
Development was actually super easy across the board. It only took our lead developer a few days to get this designed and developed. And it also helped that Discord already had a good amount of existing deep linking code in place.
Right, that definitely helps. And I'm glad to hear it was a smooth process. Implementing App Actions now is super exciting, but I imagine it's only one of the ways Discord is planning to go deeper with voice. What comes next here? Where else do you see Discord investing when it comes to bringing voice into their experience?
Well, integrating with Google Assistant through App Actions is a great first step towards investing further in voice on mobile. It'll make it even easier for mobile users to hop in and out of channels, switch servers, and hang out with friends on Discord. But looking ahead, we want to be a best-in-class voice app. Today, we are seeing exciting growth in mobile and international usage, and a wider range of communities and friends join our service. But that also means we have to continuously improve our core functionality and the overall mobile experience. Having really clear voice quality is another big priority for us across all platforms. So you're going to see us continue to invest in high quality noise suppression.
That's great. Lots of exciting stuff to come. Thanks so much, Prachi. It's been great chatting with you and hearing how Discord's app action came to be. I can't wait to use it. And again, we're really excited to partner with your team on this.
Thank you. It was great to speak with you too. We can't wait for our users to try it out. I think they're going to love it.
That was awesome. To recap, App Actions allows users to fast forward into your key functionality with voice. It's a simple integration that is available for all Android apps and can be completed in a few days. By implementing App Actions, your app becomes eligible for re-engagement across the assistant, and we'll hear all about that in our next session with Preeti. We're super excited about App Actions and the awesome experiences that we're going to create when we bring your Android apps together with the Google Assistant.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Preeti, and I am a Partner Technology Manager here at Google. My team works with partners and developers to build exceptional integrations on Google Assistant. I've been at Google over 7 years, and I'm based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome to this session on Discovery for App Actions. Now that you've heard about the types of intents we're launching, vertical intents, custom intents, and common intents, let's talk about how you can be successful on the platform. Whether you're building an app action to help with creating a social media posting or with online shopping, your users are out there looking for an easier way to get those tasks done. Just as it's important to build a strong voice-powered experience that deep links into your app, it's also important to make sure that it's easy to find those experiences. That's why Google is investing significantly in discovery for app actions. Let's talk about some general discovery options that are available. The assistant can suggest app actions even when the app name is not specified. You can also proactively recommend an app action when a user isn't quite sure what to do. All of this is based on a user's habits and past behavior. Let's say you have a user that regularly follows Taylor Swift on Twitter. Let's say this user has tried the Google Assistant and said, "Hey Google, show me Taylor Swift on Twitter," a number of times before. The next time the user opens the assistant to just simply search for Taylor Swift, the suggestion will show up at the bottom of the Google Assistant app to show on Twitter. The user can either tap the suggestion or say the voice command to go to the natural next step of looking at that profile. I also mentioned that the assistant can proactively suggest an action even when the user isn't sure what to do. Let's assume a user opens up the assistant and pauses for a couple of seconds. In this case, the assistant will suggest that the user try saying a popular action. Let's look at another example. Let's say you're a loyal Walmart customer. You enjoy using the Walmart grocery app to make online orders. You also enjoy using the Google Assistant to very quickly and easily book a time with Walmart. Now, if you've done this a number of times, the next time you happen to, let's say, open the assistant and you find yourself not sure what to do, because, hey, that happens to the best of us, the assistant will suggest that you try saying, "Book a time with Walmart," just in case that was something you were meaning to do this week. So what does this mean for developers? How can you ensure that your app action is ready to help a user at exactly the right time? Just keep one thing in mind. Make sure you think about the user experience early on when you're integrating. That way, when a user tries it out for the first time, and if they have a positive experience, there's a higher likelihood that they'll do it again. That's it. The rest is based on user habits. There's no additional work required. Just make sure that your app action delivers a positive experience every single time. Now let's take a step back and look at how users engage with their mobile apps. Consider this. Studies have shown that the average user has more than 40 apps on their phone. Each user is unique, and they have their own specific needs, which is why we're excited about a new feature called Shortcuts, which allows users to customize a short voice command to access their favorite apps. It also comes with a convenient settings UI, which we'll talk you through next. Let's look at a user that enjoys using the MyFitnessPal app to check their calorie intake. She has tried using the Google Assistant to say, "Hey Google, check my calories on MyFitnessPal." And she enjoyed the experience so much that she developed a habit of doing it every day after lunch. Now with shortcuts, she has the ability to customize that exactly the way she wants. All she has to do is say, "Hey Google, create a shortcut." And she's immediately transported into the settings interface for assistant-enabled apps. In this first tab, she'll see a list of suggested shortcut commands based on the apps that she uses most frequently. She can click on the plus sign next to the MyFitnessPal shortcut to add it to her list of shortcuts. Next, she can customize it to just 2 words if she wants. Check calories. Note how the app name does not need to be specified. And now she's happier with how much faster it's going to be when she does that every day. The best part for developers is that users now have the power to make your app their go-to when they want to get something done quickly. But that's not all. After a shortcut is created, it's eligible to show up as a suggestion at the bottom of the Google Assistant app. Let's look at another example. Are you someone that likes to look up hiking trails on AllTrails? Did you create a shortcut to make it easy to start recording a hike in the app? Let's assume the answer is yes, and that you created a shortcut for Start My Hike. After using it a couple of times, you'll notice that when you open the Google Assistant app, it shows up as a suggestion at the bottom of the screen. You can either tap the suggestion, or you can say the voice command, and it'll take you directly into the AllTrails app to start recording that hike. So what can developers do to take advantage of shortcuts? There's no additional work required. After you implement your app actions intents in your actions.xml file, you can sit back and relax knowing that Google will take care of the rest. But what if you're a developer that wants to go further? What if you want to raise awareness in your user base about the convenience of creating a shortcut command? There is one thing you can do. Promotion within your app. Discovery is best when it's contextual. Here's an example of what Yahoo Mail is planning to promote in their app in the next couple of months. Later this year, we'll also share best practices for developers that want to take that extra step and promote within their app. And there you have it. To recap, we talked about general discovery options like suggestions and proactive recommendations with the try saying prompt. We also talked about a new feature called shortcuts. We hope you found this session useful in understanding the discovery options available to you. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Jamie from our partnerships team, who's interviewing Corey Bozart from MyFitnessPal to talk about their experience integrating with App Actions and also how they're thinking about discovery. A big welcome to Corey and Jamie.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Preeti. And thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Jamie Hirschhorn, and I lead some of our product partnerships work over here on the Google Assistant. I'm based in New York, and I've been at Google for around 7 years. I'm joined by a very special guest today, our fearless friend and VP of Product over at MyFitnessPal, Corey Bozarth. Welcome, Corey. He's joining us from California and has a strong track record of building some amazing brand and user experiences at MyFitnessPal and previously at Yahoo, Visa, PayPal, and Wells Fargo, and others. One fun fact about Corey is that he's recently developed a serious passion for woodworking. So we're hoping that maybe we can learn a thing or two today during our session. But anyhow, thanks so much for joining us, Corey. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, let's dive right in. We're really eager to hear about your team's experiences and how you think about the Assistant and how you've thought about building for the Google Assistant. So there's so much new technology out there today for app developers. How did your team choose to build and work with us on the Google Assistant?
Yeah, so we chose to build for Google Assistant for a couple reasons. Number one is just the ubiquitous nature of the platform. It's everywhere and represents a very substantial portion of the MyFitnessPal audience. And then number two, given that reach and penetration, and the fact that we're always looking for ways to improve the nutrition tracking and logging experience for our users, we looked at Google Assistant as a really important strategic area of opportunity for us.
And why did you decide to prioritize voice specifically? And what kinds of problems were you trying to solve by launching an experience like this with App Actions?
Sure. So we decided to prioritize voice for MyFitnessPal because really long term, we do actually see voice as an incredibly powerful interaction model that represents tremendous upside in terms of removing the friction that's inherent in the nutrition tracking and logging experience. And we viewed App Actions specifically as a really great low-cost way for us to begin this journey in earnest, especially given how focused App Actions is on driving re-engagement with our users, and especially how easy it is to integrate. In terms of which problems we're trying to solve, it's really simple, it's straightforward for us. All we're trying to do is make it as easy and efficient as possible for our users to track their nutrition, right? We're in the business of helping people establish new healthy habits, if you will, and we all know establishing habits is incredibly difficult. So any indication or any potential impediment to that habit formation just can totally derail someone's progress. And so we look at App Actions as really a way for us to supplement the experiences we've built, leveraging voice to make that experience so much easier. And so it's just a really exciting opportunity for us.
Once you took the leap and decided to move forward, what was the actual development experience like for your product and eng teams?
Yeah, the development experience was actually incredibly simple. It took one of our engineers just a 2-week sprint to complete the development, and largely it's based on the fact that it integrates so effectively with our existing deep link framework. And I'll be honest, I was surprised at the level of upside that we're getting from a feature with such little overhead. So it's been surprisingly simple.
Let's dive in a little bit deeper now and hear about how MyFitnessPal thinks more broadly about discovery and how this played a role in your App Actions experience, and how you just think about it more broadly as a business. So why is discoverability really essential for MyFitnessPal and some of the other connected fitness brands under Under Armour?
Sure. So discoverability is important for us because, quite frankly, it's not easy to deliver features and functionality to your users, especially at the scale of MyFitnessPal. There's so much rigor that goes behind figuring out what we want to deliver to help our users be more successful. And so if we have a discoverability or engagement problem, we're kind of dead in the water. So when we take the time to figure out these features and functionality that we want to deliver, if the value isn't clear and conspicuous to our users, then really what's the point? And so we need to make sure that if we're putting in the time and energy to develop something like this with Google or any partner really, there has to be enough awareness and usage of the feature for us to gauge product market fit and ultimately iterate on long term. And so really the integration of App Actions with MyFitnessPal was really no different. But one of the great things that we're discovering through this process is that there's so many levers available to us right out of the box to help drive discoverability and engagement. So whether it's from the settings UI, all the way over to Google making intelligent decisions around recommending shortcuts to our audience, there just seemed to be a host of features that we can rely on to help make sure discoverability wasn't a problem. And on the topic of shortcuts, that's really, quite frankly, blue sky. We're just excited to see how our users engage with shortcuts. As I mentioned earlier, we're in the business of kind of helping people establish good habits, and that's incredibly hard, but it's also incredibly unique. How these users go about establishing those habits is really a unique process. Those can be such personalized actions to take. So we're excited to see how our audience leverages that capability to make their overall tracking and nutrition journey and achieving their health and fitness goals that much easier.
So Corey, how do you think about the long-term success of an integration like App Actions for the business?
We're considering long-term success with App Actions like we do with everything we develop. And that's really going to start with making sure that we're monitoring the usage and the engagement with the feature set. And really the way we're going to do that is we're going to try to overdrive discoverability and awareness initially, just to make sure we're saturating our audience with the idea that this feature can add value. And one of the reasons, actually, what we're kind of excited about too is I talked about some of the features and functionality that were available outside, right out of the box. There's another one upcoming, which is the in-app promo, which we're excited about given the value it's going to have to getting this App Actions in front of our audience in a very conspicuous and meaningful way to make sure that they understand how using this feature set is going to help them be more successful on their health and fitness journey.
And what are some things that you're looking forward to from Google in the future?
Look, we're always excited to see what Google cooks up next. But quite frankly, I think what's exciting for us at this point is just continuing this journey of the collaboration and the co-development. we really do believe that there's tremendous upside here to unlock real value for our community of users in partnership with Google. So we look at this as really just the beginning of a longer term relationship and journeys that we're excited about.
Thank you again, Corey, so much for jumping on, for your time, for your fearlessness in trying a new project like App Actions with us, and for integrating on the Google Assistant. We really appreciate you jumping on today. We know that discoverability is essential for both our users and developers, and with App Actions, we want to make it simpler by baking discoverability features into our platform through things like recommendations, suggestion chips, and in-app promos. Please check out the Assistant Developer website to learn more about these features. Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Kaufman, a product manager for the Assistant ecosystem, and it's a privilege to talk to you about some of the improvements we're bringing to the development platform. As you heard in the keynote, we've made a lot of progress since rolling out Actions Builder and SDK back in June. And I want to share some additional details about these improvements and walk through some of the new features and provide a sneak peek of those coming soon. First up are the new voices. Speech is a fundamental building block of the conversation platform. And even as we continue to invest in better visual experiences and capabilities, we want speaking to Google Assistant to be a delightful experience. Early in the platform's life, a lot of partners solved this problem with custom voice recording. But we continue to improve the quality of our voices, and we're excited with these new offerings. They're available to all developers now, and they have improved the intonation, and they sound a lot more natural.
This is one of the new voices, and it's available through the Actions console. We hope it makes your actions more enjoyable for all your users.
Last year at I/O, we announced Interactive Canvas as a way to combine the power of voice with visuals and touch interfaces. It's available for smart displays, as you know, as well as Android devices, and it's based on open web technologies you're already familiar with, such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, back in June, we previewed Continuous Match Mode, which allowed a Canvas experience to respond immediately to a user's speech, enabling more fluid dialogue and a more responsive experience. Today, this technology begins rolling out and will be available for select partners to build into their Canvas actions. I want to take a look at what's possible when we've started to move beyond prompt and response.
Circles. Oval. Instrument. Trumpet. Metal discs. Give me a hint. Give me another hint. Oh, toilet paper.
In the next session, you'll hear directly from a partner who has built with this capability, so I hope you'll stick around and learn from that. Next up, let's talk about ways we're improving the Actions Builder IDE. Now that you can visualize the entire conversation flow, it's important to make sure you're building a high-quality experience and can easily jump to different parts of your action to make changes and enhancements. This is one of the reasons we're introducing a fully integrated search bar. Searching inside Action Builder allows you to quickly find and identify all the different parts of your action, from prompts to intents to scenes and training phrases. What's more, you can jump directly to that part of the IDE and make changes. We believe that this will provide a better building experience and make it simpler to manage your action as it grows more complex. But that's not the only improvement we're making to help raise the quality of experiences. I suspect many of you have been testing your actions manually with a nearby device or with extensive cycles in the simulator. We know it's a pain point, and shortly we'll be bringing a new testing API to market. It's based on the simulator, and it will allow programmatic manipulation of your action and lower the effort to test all your most important user journeys. To get started, you define testing code as you normally do, using the testing framework of your choice. The client library will help you with all the frequently used assertions to streamline the development process. This testing API changes the paradigm of manually testing actions, and it allows you to write procedural tests and see results. We worked hard in the recent months to launch our new platform and increase the compatibility with widely adopted tools from the ecosystem. First, I'd like to talk about VoiceFlow, a collaborative design and prototyping platform that lets you quickly build and push actions for Google Assistant. We're happy to say that this has just become even easier with VoiceFlow's new Actions SDK integration. Let's take a look. Next is Jovo, a widely used framework that allows developers to build voice experiences that work across devices and platforms. Similar to VoiceFlow, Jovo has built a new integration with our platform to take advantage of the same improvements that are available for developers using Actions Builder and SDK. We're serious about having your business succeed with Google Assistant, and we recognize that serving users with premium or personalized content requires linking accounts with your services. As of today, developers can use Link with Google and AppFlip. Let's talk about how you build these into your experience. First up is Link with Google. A user begins their journey inside a familiar app, yours, where they've already logged in. A few clicks gets them through a complete account linking flow, and they don't have to re-enter their credentials. This eliminates the need to link accounts during the conversation. It increases the awareness of your Google Assistant experience from inside your existing app, and gives your users an authenticated experience when using your action. It works with both Android and iOS, and to take advantage of this, you'll need to use the authorization code flow version of OAuth. Next, let's focus on AppFlip. This is a great solution if your app is installed on the majority of your customers' mobile phones already. It will allow users to quickly link their existing account to Assistant by flipping to your app and avoids having to enter a password manually. This approach greatly increases linking conversion and provides a superior user experience. I want to talk about action links, which we're rebranding as Assistant links. These links can now support rich Assistant interactions such as account linking directly embedded in your website. We will also be expanding the reach of Assistant links beyond mobile, so your users can click to directly open actions on a smart display. With this capability, any user browsing your website from either their desktop or mobile phone can simply click and watch their smart display come to life to experience your action without using any special invocation phrases. Sharing Assistant links via social media is also a great way to harness the inherent virality of the web to drive additional adoption. Finally, to streamline the process of creating and managing these Assistant links, we've created a new web tool, which you can find via our documentation or inside the developer console. Now, one of the special things about smart home devices, and displays in particular, is that they're inherently communal. Whether you're contacting your family, sharing music, or playing a collaborative game, you're doing it together on the device. However, this has been a challenge from the developer's perspective, because sometimes you want to build a shared experience for everyone in a household and not have to manage individual profiles or accounts. That's why we're beginning to test household account linking. This capability will allow an identified adult to choose to share their state with all users of the device. As an example, let's say you're building a puzzle that everyone can work on as they walk past the device. Under the old paradigm, each person who invoked the action would receive a new instance of the puzzle. With household authentication, every user can share that experience. To enable this feature, you just need to select household account linking in the console, and each user will be prompted to share the account with their household during the linking process. Now let's talk about improvements we're making to the transaction flow on smart displays. We want to make it easier for you to add seamless monetization capabilities to your experience. Right now, when a user makes a purchase, they're sent to a mobile phone to complete the transaction. This isn't ideal for the user. So we're working to overhaul how transactions work so that it can be done either directly on the device or with the user's voice to significantly reduce friction. Our first step here will be launching on-display CVC entry early next year, and you should expect much more from us on this front in the next few quarters. Much of what I've shared today is only available on our new platform, Actions Builder and SDK, and we know that some of you have experienced great success with Dialogflow. Well, we don't want you to have to start from scratch. So we're releasing a migration tool that automates much of the work to bring your Dialogflow-based actions over to the new platform so you can take advantage of these rich capabilities. To get started, you pull up your action in the console and choose to preview the migration. You'll also see an option to learn more about the process, which will highlight how your action will be rendered on the new platform, and it will map familiar Dialogflow concepts to their equivalents. As we announced at the Voice Global event, the new platform has significantly reduced latency, so your users should have a better experience with your action even before you take advantage of all these new capabilities. Everything we've talked about today can be found on our developer site. What's more, with the recent success of games on smart displays, we've learned a tremendous amount about what it takes to make a great voice-forward visual experience that players also love. We want to share that knowledge to help developers like you succeed on our platform, and so we're launching a new games portal. Really, it's an in-depth guide on how to build great games for the Google Assistant. Here you'll find design guidelines for voice-forward experiences, case studies from recently launched games, and feature documentation to help you leverage the platform to deliver your creative vision. Additionally, we know many game developers have been asking for better tools to help improve their visual experiences. We're happy to announce that we are rolling out support for Chrome DevTools to allow developers to debug their interactive Canvas web apps directly on smart display devices. Check out the portal for these new resources and for information on accessing continuous match and all the latest technologies. Thank you for the attention, and I really hope you share our excitement for the platform. From adding new capabilities and better tools that unlock higher quality experiences, to improving account linking and transactions so we better serve your business needs, we're continuing to invest in making this a robust ecosystem for developers. Next, I'd like to introduce my colleague Niranjan for a conversation with one of our partners, Cool Games, that's on the leading edge of innovation for visual experiences. That starts right now.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Niranjan Kumar. I'm the gaming lead for the Google Assistant platform. I am incredibly excited to introduce you to Lawrence Rutten, who is the CEO and founder of Cool Games. They're a game development studio based out of Amsterdam, and they specialize in building HTML5 games across several different innovative platforms. Lawrence, I would love to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us more about the work you do at Cool Games.
Hi, Niranjan. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. And indeed, I founded Cool Games 10 years ago as one of the first HTML5 specialized game companies around. We focus on developing high-quality casual games, and we do that both with our in-house developed IPs, but also in partnerships with famous AAA brands, such as Tetris, Angry Birds, or Monopoly. And we have been launching games over many different HTML5 platforms over the years, and now Google Assistant is the latest one.
That's great to hear. I wanted to especially highlight the work that you've done with the hit game Guess the Drawing, where users have to race against the clock to try and verbally guess the drawing that's being pictured on the screen. I know you have a ton of history and knowledge of games, and I wanted to see what your thoughts were on how voice particularly has a role in the games industry and where you think the future goes.
Yeah, I think, of course, very good question. And honestly, if you would have asked me this question 1 year ago, I wouldn't have given it too much thought at that time. But of course, in the last almost 1 year now, 9 months, we've been working on a couple of voice-operated games. And I have to say that, I didn't realize before how naturally it can actually be to include voice for operating a game. And it feels just as a normal addition. And I think if you ask me, I would say this will become a standard on many more platforms. And I could totally see, for example, playing a PlayStation 5 game with both controller in my hands while also giving voice commands. Now that we have been in this experience, I think that would be totally doable. And probably many platforms will follow. That's what I think. And I wouldn't expect that 1 year ago when we sort of started looking at this.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I'm also incredibly curious to see what the future holds, especially in voice. I guess I have to ask, I know I'm very excited about the opportunities that developers have to build on the Google Assistant platform. What was the experience like building Guess the Drawing with the Assistant?
So I think you can say that on the technical side, if you are an experienced developer, and you get all the tools and the setup and environment of Google, it's relatively easy to set up and to start working on game projects. One of the things we like very much in our studio, and the devs really liked, is that we could actually also use our own tools and our own engines that we built over the years and port them to also work with the Google Assistant platform. So the combination of the Google toolset that you get sort of out of the box when starting, and then the customization with our own tools and engines worked really well. I'm very happy about it, and especially my devs are very happy about that.
Yeah, likewise, same here. We loved collaborating together, and I think that was our goal as well, to make sure that our tools complement yours as well in terms of building native experiences. Was it easy or difficult building Guess the Drawing?
So, having been launching games over many different platforms in the past, and also being launch partner for several platforms, I have to say that it was relatively good to do. I mean, again, making the game itself technically was not the biggest challenge, I think. I think the main challenge and the main learning for us was actually in how to build good voice games. What's a good voice flow? How does it work? What's a natural way of talking to your game? And I think that's where we had the most challenges. But all in all, it was pretty pretty easy to actually develop games for this platform. It was quicker than we expected. I can say that, yes.
Well, that's great to hear. That's what we love. For future voice developers who are building on this platform, what is one tip that you would highlight or recommend?
Yeah, I think that would be mainly on the game design side. And I would really recommend game designers to take time and think about what the voice flow would be. And again, if voice is first, forget the touch as the first primary control, but instead have voice as the primary control. What does that change to a normal mobile game, for example? And the best way of doing it is actually just start a project, test it, adjust it, iterate it, test again. And I think that's especially for people new in the field of voice games. I think that's where probably the most lessons are to be learned and some time needs to be taken.
I completely agree. I think voice design and conversational design is especially important, especially when you're building through to the game design for voice. Lawrence, I want to thank you so much for your time. I love Guessed Drawing, I love playing it, and really enjoy the insights and the details that you provided on what it takes to build on the Google Assistant platform. We heard David speak earlier, and I'm also very excited to see the new features that we have and the tool sets that we have for our developers when they want to build native experiences on the Google Assistant platform. You'll be able to find all of these things on our Google Assistant developer website and be able to find all the tools you need to create really high quality, immersive voice experiences.
I'm Rebecca Zepfel, and I'm a product manager for Google Assistant. My team and I focus on new ways for developers to build great experiences on our platform. One of the keys to success in voice development is discovery. When you invest in building delightful, high-quality actions for Google Assistant, we want to make sure users find, try, and love what you've built, and continue to come back again and again. We're always working to improve the discovery levers available for you today. Assistant links, previously known as action links, take users directly to a specific intent in your action. And now they can be generated in a flash with the new Assistant Link URL and HTML generator. You can find this tool in the Assistant Studio Developer Console, along with documentation to help you maximize the effectiveness of your Assistant links. These links look particularly great shared on social media, where they'll show your branding and action details. And get ready to take Assistant links to the next level with rich Assistant links. A new JavaScript library enables your Assistant links with better tracking and even account linking right from your website or app. Next, we will also be enabling linking to native Assistant features, starting with donations and routines. This unlocks a whole range of great experiences for users, including things like mobile home screen shortcuts, sharing, and more. We will also be extending the reach of Assistant links beyond mobile for your users to directly open actions on smart displays. So when a user is browsing your website from their desktop or phone, they can simply click your Assistant link and watch their smart display invoke your action. In addition to improving our existing discovery today, I'm particularly excited to announce a few brand new discovery levers. We want users to be able to browse and discover your high-quality, engaging actions on Google Assistant. To start, we're focusing on two key user journeys. The first is education. There is an amazing ecosystem of educational tools helping learners today. Learning is a lifelong journey, and voice technology has a major role to play in the future of education. So we're opening new discover opportunities for educational actions. When users ask Google to teach me something new, we'll show a variety of learning topics to explore. This visual discovery will be available on mobile devices and smart displays in English to start. We're starting with 4 learning topics. The first is learning a new language, a natural fit for conversational voice actions. From language lessons to conversational partners, we invite the voice community to build innovative new ways to learn languages powered by the Google Assistant. The second topic is picking up a new skill. How can your action help users find a new hobby or learn a new habit? The third topic is learning more about our natural world, helping our users explore Earth, the climate, and even space. final topic is learning with families, where family-friendly educational experiences can shine. Voice technology has an opportunity to help young learners, both auditory and visual. And on communal devices like smart displays, there's an opportunity for families to find moments to learn and grow together. And speaking of families, this takes us to the next user journey we're opening for discovery: storytelling. Tell Me a Story is already a popular feature on Google Assistant, loved by families enjoying story time together. Previously, Google Assistant would just select an audio story and start playing. Now, when users say to Google, "Tell me a story," to a screen device, we'll surface up a catalog of stories for families to browse and select from. Some for adventuring, some for bedtime, and even some interactive. All delightful storytelling experiences for families. We're making it easy to replay a story you loved or discover brand new ones. And here's the most exciting part. The new visual browse experiences on mobile devices and smart displays will surface up educational and storytelling actions from you, the Google Assistant developer ecosystem. The launch of these new discovery levers is joined by the launch of new built-in intents. You can already register your game action for the Play a Game built-in intent. That registration tells the Google Assistant that your action fulfills a specific category of user requests and allows your game to be surfaced when users ask Google Assistant to play a game. In the same way, you can register your actions to be surfaced in the visual discovery on mobile devices and smart displays for Tell Me a Story and Teach Me Something New. Registering is easy in the Assistant Studio Actions console and in the Actions SDK. Simply choose the built-in intent that suits your action. Tell Me a Story is designed for families, so if you're registering a story, your action will need to be part of our Assistant for Families program. This can be done easily in the Actions console. You can also let us know the genres of your story. Is it better suited for bedtime or playtime? This helps the Google Assistant know the best ways to categorize your story and help users find it. When registering an educational action, we'll also ask you which topics your action helps users learn. If you select from our current list, languages, skills, the natural world, or families, you can be surfaced in visual discovery on mobile and smart displays. And if you're building an action for families to learn together, your action will also need to be a part of the Assistant for Families program. We'll prompt you in the Actions console when you register to make this easy. Now, these topics are just the beginning. We also want you and your educational actions to guide future discovery needs. So in the Actions console, when you register for the BII, you can also suggest new topics. We won't have visual discovery on these yet, but this will let us know proactively where discovery is needed the most and help us grow this discovery experience based on your feedback. You can also register for these built-in intents directly from the Actions SDK. And just in case you're wondering, what about an educational game? Don't worry. You can register for both the Play a Game and the Teach Me Something built-in intents. All of these great investments in discovery deserve the most engaging user experiences. That's why, in addition to the new visual discovery and built-in intents, we're excited to expand access to interactive Canvas for educational and storytelling actions. With interactive Canvas, your actions come to life with compelling visuals and engaging interactivity. When creating your actions, you'll see options for education and for storytelling. Both of these provide access to interactive Canvas and the built-in intents. Now, I'll turn it over to Marco Lenoci, who is interviewing Chris Levins, the creative director at Age of Learning, to talk about the exciting future and growing role of voice technology in education.
Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. I am Marco Lenoci, and I'm a partnership lead for Google Assistant. A big part of my role now is to lead our partnership strategy around a few core investment areas where we believe that voice and Google Assistant is going to be the best way to interact, playing fun family games, learning, educating ourselves, and amazing storytelling experiences. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Chris Levins. Creative Director at Age of Learning. Based out of LA, his job is to help bring great industry-leading interactive educational products to children worldwide. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks, Marco. Hi, I'm Chris, and I've been working in kids, games, media, and education for over 20 years. I'm proud to be part of the team at Age of Learning. We're a leading education technology innovator, and we create engaging and effective learning resources to help children build a strong foundation for academic success. Our mission is to help children everywhere build that strong foundation for success in both school and in life. Tens of millions of kids in the US have benefited from our programs, and we're proud of the impact our company has been able to make. More than 200,000 teachers a year use our products in classrooms.
We are really delighted to have you here today.
Happy to be here, Marco.
Looking into the future, how do you envision the role of voice technology expansion on your industry?
Well, our goal as a company is to meet and anticipate the expanding educational needs of our families, the families that love ABC Mouse and Adventure Academy. In Voice, we see a number of opportunities to bring meaningful, playful learning to kids through multiple devices. Voice helps make learning more accessible, even for young learners who might not be able to read just yet. For more than a decade, we've been offering high-quality learning programs to help kids develop a strong academic foundation and lifelong love of learning. Age of Learning's mission is to help children everywhere build that foundation they need for academic success, and we are very focused on learning outcomes. Now more than ever, families want access to high-quality, research-proven educational tools and programs. Voice opens up a new pathway for teaching in the home, delivering enriching content to devices that offer an accessible point of entry to nearly any user, child or adult. We see a great opportunity for whole family learning in Voice. The ability for a child to playfully learn on a device in the living room or the kitchen, maybe while mom and dad are cooking. It's enriching the learner, but it's also opening up conversations about learning between parents and children and giving parents much needed support. It's a great way for the family to be together and for the child to learn while the parent still feels engaged in the process.
I couldn't agree more. We definitely see a tremendous opportunity for communal devices to enrich the learning experience at home and really help parents and children to connect in a new, fun way. To transition to the next question, Chris, how has your focus changed with most learning happening at home now?
Well, technology has blurred the line between formal and informal learning, and it's created some opportunities that didn't previously exist. That allows us to be there for families in ways that may not have been possible 15 or 20 years ago. And it gives them access to the high-quality, research-proven tools and programs we offer. Our focus on helping bring education to all kids hasn't changed, but we do realize we have an opportunity to play a stronger role in helping families make at-home education a better and more enriching experience.
And from this perspective, what are you excited to see happen in the Voice ecosystem?
Connecting kids to characters they love, that's an area in which we see a lot of potential. Kids build relationships with characters like ABC Mouse, and having him come to life via voice, having him seemingly respond to and listen to kids helps deepen that relationship. And the deeper affinity for a character like ABC Mouse helps us teach in different playful ways that are more meaningful to a child. Learning outcomes can potentially increase when kids create bonds like these.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris, for sharing your thoughts on the future of learning and the changing needs that parents and children are experiencing at home. We are thrilled to see Age of Learning invest in the voice experiences and really shape the future of the industry. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today, and good luck. Best of luck with everything.
Oh, thanks. Good luck to you too, Marco. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Likewise.
Hey everyone, you heard a lot of new announcements and learned a lot throughout the day, so we're just going to end the event with a very casual fireside chat. We'll be going over some of the highlights and answering commonly asked developer questions. My name is Mary, and I'm part of the Google Assistant Developer Relations team. And co-host of this fireside chat is my colleague and previous office mate, Jessica.
Oh, remember when we used to go into the office? Oh, so weird. But yes, I'm Jessica, and I'm a developer advocate. And we've collected questions from developers, and we wrote them down on Post-it notes, and we've actually recorded this a few weeks back. But if you have any questions during the fireside chat today, please ask them in the chat window, and we'll answer them live. So grab a drink and join us for some afternoon tea. I'm actually drinking jasmine tea right now. How about you, Mary?
I'm having a chai latte.
Oh my gosh, yum. And also,
latte.
Oh my gosh, yum. And also look out for any special cameos from our fur babies throughout this conversation.
Cool. So before we begin the Q&A, here's a quick recap of the main highlights from today. If you're a mobile developer, App Actions is now available for anyone with an Android app. You can now use App Actions to integrate your app with Google Assistant for so many different use cases. And if you're a native developer, we want to just remind you that we hear you. We're heavily investing in discovery and monetization opportunities for you, and we're constantly improving the developer experience. So with that, let's jump into App Action questions. So Jessica, I get this question a lot previously for App Actions, and I think now that it's readily available for all developers, let's tackle it first. As an Android developer, how do I get started? Do I need to build something new, or can I just integrate my existing app?
Yeah, that's a great question, and usually the first one because it's the most immediate. So the great thing is with your Android app, what happens is you already have all that functionality, and adding App Actions adds that voice capabilities to it, which is great. So all you need to do is support deep links. Once you've done that, you can build out your app action. We've broken this down into 4 steps. And the first one is to tell the assistant on how to use your app. And so this is giving the assistant just, hey, I do X, Y, Z. And then the second step is when the assistant does have those requests, how do you process that? These are your fulfillment URLs. And then the third step, of course, is testing it out and making sure it works. And then the fourth is deploying it. And if you want a hands-on tutorial guide on how to build this, you could go and check out our code lab that's all about integrating an Android app and App Actions. So with that, when it comes to telling the assistant on how to build or what your action can do, those are called built-in intents. And we've recently launched many more built-in intents. And I believe we now have over 60 built-in intents. And I can't list them all. So, Mary, I have a pop quiz for you. What are some of the built-in intents that are available?
All right, so I'm not going to list all of them either, but I can list some of the categories like social, productivity, shopping, games, communication, finance, food and drink, health and fitness, transportation, and finally common. Common just means generic built-in intents, like, for example, if you want to get a summary of your account or check an order that you just recently placed, or just actually opening up the feature in your app. Now, with this in mind, a developer might look at the list and say, I actually don't think any of these built-in intents fit me. What can they do in that case?
Yeah, every Android app is unique, and that's the best thing about the ecosystem. And so what we have is custom intents, and those are similar to built-in intents where you can connect your assistant to your app. So what you first need to do with custom intents is you need query patterns, and these are the examples that are different ways a user could say something for that particular functionality. So let's say I have a cake making action and I want to give my users a way to say, hey Google, open Baking Fun and start making cupcakes. I would need to provide several different ways for a user to say something like that. So someone could say something like craft cupcakes or produce cupcakes. You can also pass in parameters. So if a user says something like start making 18 cupcakes, that number 18 is passed as a parameter, allowing you to provide your users with instructions on making 18 cupcakes versus the usual 12. And just note that parameters are available in certain support types, which include text, date, time, and number.
All right, I think I'll choose 18 cupcakes over 12 any day.
Right?
So let's talk about the technical details around some of these new app action functionalities. Can you talk about the foreground app invocation?
Yeah, of course. So with foreground app invocation, this allows built-in intents to be matched without requiring the app's name to be mentioned while a specific activity is in the device's foreground. In other words, users can talk to the app to quickly get things done. And so if a user says something like, order me a ride to Mountain View, the app can use that input to set the destination field to Mountain View. You could also add this functionality by updating your actions.xml file and adding the required foreground activity attribute along with a new intent.
And a lot of app developers actually have a strong web presence. How can they make use of web inventory?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's start off with inventory in general. So let's say you have a boba restaurant app, right? And the user can say, order milk tea from boba restaurant, which is great. But for the assistant to understand that you have milk tea as a menu option, you need to add this to your inventory. You could use inline inventory where you list out the different menu items as entities, as well as their fulfillment URLs for each entity. Now, for web inventory, you can use entity set reference tags and URL filter attributes to generate the URLs for fulfillment. Web inventory is a great option for those with a strong web presence, and your in-app deep links are organized around publicly available web content. So now it's my turn. So the last question before we move on to the native developers. While building new functionality, being able to get support and to test functionality during development is so critical. Are there any tools to support Android developers?
Yeah, definitely. So there's an Android Studio plugin called the App Actions Test Tool. The test tool basically parses your Actions XML file and then creates a preview of your app actions. That way, you can test your app actions without having to deploy the production version. Also in Android Studio, you'll find a lot of our documentation and support resources if you need it as well. All right, so let's shift gears and talk about building conversational actions for the Google Assistant. Now, before we get into the questions, Jessica's going to recap some of the major announcements in this area.
Yeah, so we announced 2 new English voices for our developer community, and this really takes advantage of the improved proximity models and will sound even more natural. We also announced recently in July a new conversation tool called Actions Builder and Actions SDK. These tools allow you to manage the conversational logic in a state-based like modality. This new tool has improved NLU and decreased latency, as well as a new graphical representation of the conversational paths. Something else that was discussed today is support for action links for Actions Builder. So action links allow you to generate URLs that you could use in marketing campaigns that when a user clicks on it will invoke your action on Google Assistant enabled devices. And something else we announced is that we have 2 new beta programs to improve account linking flows that will allow simple, streamlined authentication via apps. The first one is Link with Google, and the second one is App Flip. And finally, if you have an action that's currently being used and it uses Dialogflow, if you want to use some of these new features and convert over so you could use the newest tooling, we've launched our migration tool that will convert your Dialogflow agent into an Actions Builder project.
And I hope you saw it in the keynote today. We also displayed the new Learning Hub and Stories Lobby interfaces for smart displays. If you missed it, these are cards that display on your smart display to help you explore and discover new storytelling and learning actions. Now, as a developer, I think my first question would be, how can I get my content on there?
Yeah, those were really cool, right, Mary? Like, those hubs were amazing. So a developer can actually get their content on there by using implicit invocation for games, education, and storytelling in their Canvas actions. And so you can add this implicit invocation to your project through the Actions Builder in Settings. And just like your main invocation, you have your implicit invocation transition to the appropriate scene. And you could also use Actions SDK to do this too. The great thing is if your action has more than one of these, let's say your action is a game that is educational where it tells you stories, you can use all 3 of them if you like. So you can have multiple implicit invocations working for you. So I have a question, Mary, and I know that somebody had a lot of involvement with games. So what type of games work best for smart displays, and where can I learn more?
Yeah, we have to admit, we probably planted this question because we wanted to talk about it. Over the last few months, we actually took on the role of being game developers ourselves, just so we could use our tools to build cool new games for smart displays. That came with a lot of learning from that development journey, so we wanted to publish those as best practices, lessons learned, and what not to do. So as you may have heard, there's a new Assistant Games portal. This is our new website for game developers. And on there, you'll find these new sources, for example, the new game design guidelines and case studies for how we built these games. The main call I want to make is when you're building games for smart displays, it's a really new and exciting space, right? There's new interaction models where you're using your voice as a primary mode of gameplay and having these really rich graphics sit in your players' homes. But another way of thinking about it is you're just actually elevating your existing game design expertise with unique capabilities from the Google Assistant. So there's a lot of familiarity with that as well. And when you're building these games, we used a couple of core assistant technologies, such as Interactive Canvas and the new Actions SDK. Jessica, can you talk a little about how these products work together?
Oh yeah, totally. So Interactive Canvas connects the visual and the interactive app with an action. So you can think of your action as the conversational interface that processes the user's input and handles the conversation logic and is built using Actions Builder or Actions SDK. Now your web app contains the visuals, the animation logic, and that's built using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And by using Interactive Canvas API, you are connecting these two. So for example, when a user says something like, turn the screen blue, the action handles the user's input, uses scenes to manage the conversation logic, processes that, and generates a Canvas response along with metadata for the device. And this metadata most likely will contain the color blue. And in the web app's callback, when it receives that metadata of changing the screen blue, it actually will change the screen blue.
Now, one cool benefit of smart displays is being able to combine visuals and audio really nicely. How do you sync visual and audio elements when you're developing for smart displays?
Oh my, yes. The worst thing would happen is, let's say you have an animation happening and then noise happens later. Ooh, that would,
oh no,
right? That would
terrible.
not be fun. So what you could do to make sure that these two things are in sync is using OnTTS Mark. And let's say you have a storytelling action, right? Every time there's a puppy character mentioned, you want the image of the dog to do some animation and to bark. And so you could have this functionality by adding a unique mark name into your SSML, like the word puppy dance. Then that gets registered on the TTS method of the callback object in your web app. So every time your action receives that mark name of puppy dance in your SSML, the animation and the sound will happen at the moment of that TTS.
And finally, I hope this is exciting for people who are new to Interactive Canvas. How can developers get started if they actually don't have a smart display currently?
Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite questions because I'm always amazed by how developers are so eager to build using the latest tools, even if they might not have the devices. And so you could use Action Simulator. And the Action Simulator simulates the interactivity of your action. And we provide different device types. So if you personally don't have a speaker-only device or a smart display or an Android phone, you could still build for those users and be able to test out and see and hear how your users will be experiencing your action.
Yeah, we personally used it all the time when we were building out these games to test on multiple devices.
Right?
So check it out. All right, so we covered a lot of questions here, and I also finished my tea. So I think we should call it a wrap. Thank you so much for all the questions from before and for the ones that you asked on the chat.
Yeah, and if you want to get connected to our community, check out our Twitter account, Actions on Google. That's where we post up all our announcements, and join our Reddit community. That way you can ask questions and hear from other action developers. And if you want to start building and learning how to build, check out our docs, our GitHub samples, as well as our code lab, so you can get step-by-step guides on how to build for Google Assistant. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you got a chance to tune into all of our sessions and participated in the Fireside chat to get your questions answered. We covered a lot of ground today. We talked about how we are enabling Android developers to connect their apps with the Google Assistant using App Actions. We talked about helping your users easily discover specific user journeys within your app using app shortcuts. We also talked about new developer tools to help you build high-quality native experiences easily. We talked about how we're making discovery front and center to help your users easily dive into your experiences using public registrations for BIIs, lobby experiences, and new account linking features. We also talked about new monetization features that help you transact more easily on the platform. All of these announcements are rooted in one core mission: to help people get things done more easily. And each of you plays an important role in the vision of this next ambient era. And we're humbled by how many amazing developers and brands all over the world have built on the platform already. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. Be safe and see you soon. Thanks, everybody.